It's time for Bringing the Heat with Bryan Nolen.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is another edition of Bringing the Heat with Bryan Nolen. Throwback weekend. It is upon us at Darlington. We're going to have my man Adam Cheek join me. We're going to dive into the bonkers of a news day that we have had in the past 24 to 48 hours. And we're going to hear an interview that my man Trey Lyle dove in to Mr. Todd Gilliland. Let's dive on in to that interview and going into the inferno right now.
Now it's time for
one turn to negotiate. That's turn 20, and he'll bring it down the front stretch. Todd Gilliland wins the inaugural Camping World Truck Series race at Circuit of the Americas.
To go into the inferno with Bryan.
Bring into the inferno Todd Gilliland from Front Row Motorsports, driver of the Long John Silver's Ford. First question for you, I have to ask, given the sponsor, what's your go-to Long John Silver's order?
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't tried a whole lot there. But I was just telling a story. Our owner brought a bunch of it, and we were cooking it at Talladega in the DO lot there, and got to try a bunch of it. Their fries are super good. I think that was probably my favorite. The shrimp are really good too. I'm sure everything's good. So, but it was definitely cool to kind of get my first taste of it.
Becoming a Tier 1 team for Ford this year, let's talk about your season. You've been able to lead the most laps in your career, but the speed from the car itself, becoming a Tier 1 team, working with Penske, what has that meant for Front Row?
Yeah, it's meant a lot. Definitely, I think you can see it, kind of in our on-track speed and, just how we've been unloading. We've been unloading much closer. I have a lot more confidence, right, that we're going to be able to hit a reasonable balance and have a lot of grip. So, all that stuff just starts to compound, right, where I have more confidence, my team has more confidence to push things, and, it's just going to keep getting a little bit better. It's still, I know we're probably 12 races in now, but it's still a work in progress for sure. But overall, it's definitely helped us a ton.
And looking at your season in particular, you've led a lot of laps, shown a lot of speed. What is you've seen from yourself in terms of your skill set that's led to this growth this season, or is it just more experience?
Yeah, I don't really know if it's one thing, in particular. I think experience is definitely helping. I definitely think faster, more grip in my race cars. I don't know, if it's just my experience, I'm getting more used to it and getting more out of the race car, or if there's actually more grip in the car. So, but either way, I definitely feel a lot more comfortable when we unload at the racetrack, a lot more comfortable racing around other guys. And just, like you said, leading those first couple races a little bit at Daytona, Atlanta, definitely is a big confidence booster. Just, racing around the right guys, fitting in, and my team is all, getting stronger every single week too. So, I'm definitely, fairly excited about where we're heading.
What's that next step for your team in terms of its development? Obviously, you've shown some good results. You talk about Daytona and Atlanta earlier in the year. You still got Daytona, Atlanta again later in the year. You got another Talladega. You got road courses coming up. What are the next steps for this team in terms of its development?
Yeah, I think what we've shown that, we have some sort of reasonable speed, at times during a race weekend. To me, it's about, really having that speed at the correct times, whether that is showing up for qualifying and being able to go out and compete and do exactly what we need to do for that one lap, hitting our balance right for that, or if it's, being our best at the end of the race where, there's late race caution and there's spots up for grabs. We can't be the one, losing those spots. We just need to be the ones that, like I said, are able to capitalize and at our best at the end of the race.
And ultimately, what do you want, at the end of this season, what type of goals do you want to accomplish?
Yeah, I definitely, for a while it was just finishing laps, right? But I definitely think we're past that. I want to be competing, top 10, top 15, and eventually, like you said, there's some racetracks coming up that I really feel like we can compete for a win. So I'm a racer. I want to win, and I definitely think that goal is becoming more achievable. We still have a long ways to go, right, to be able to contend week in and week out. But for me, if an opportunity arises, I definitely think we have to be ready and in the mindset that it's our time to get it done.
And the faith the team has in you, they really doubled down on it, last season with everything that went on with Zane last year, but then ultimately they chose you to be in this car this season. How much confidence has that brought you, and the faith knowing, like, I'm going to be a part of this journey as this team grows?
It's huge. Yeah, that like you said, last year was up and down, right? We at the beginning of the year, I wasn't sure, and honestly, I from outside and for me too on the inside, I was like, man, the writing's kind of on the wall, right? It's probably it. And then we were able to get better, continue to gain on it, and then just for Front Row to pick me, right? It's easily they could have chose me or whoever else, right, out there to put in the car, and just Bob Jenkins and whole Jenkins family definitely believes in me, and it's been really cool, right? Just I've grown up around this team. I feel like it's family. I feel like it's where I can fit in and make a big difference. So that's my goal, and I'm just super excited that like you said, hopefully I can be a part of it for a long time.
Todd Gilliland in the Inferno.
Once again, that was Diving into the Inferno with Mr. Todd Gilliland. We all love Todd up in this world. Let's dive on in now into what is still hot.
What's still hot? It's time to upgrade you on the latest news in NASCAR.
Once again, what is still hot? We're going to bring into the program. He is the host of Stock Car Scoop as well as Real Racing every single week at Adam Cheek on the program. Cheekies, what is going on, my friend? How you doing, man?
Brian, how are you, sir? It's good to be on again. I'm always excited for Throwback Weekend. No matter how many repetitive ones we see, there's always some fun new ones that I get excited for, and I'm looking forward to this. Darlington's always a good time.
I completely agree. I absolutely love it. But I mean, when I was preparing for this podcast 24 hours ago, I was like, okay, we're going to talk about this, talk about that. That piece of paper was threw out the window this morning because Wednesday morning, everything and then some came about. Let's first talk about Michael McDowell. Announces he is leaving Front Row Motorsports. Then it was announced via Jordan Bianchi, which later confirmed by Spire. He will be joining Spire Motorsports on a multi-year deal. This kind of came out of nowhere. He's going to be driving the number 71 car for Spires, replacing Zane Smith. How big of a surprise was this for you?
I don't want to say it was a huge surprise because I never considered, I never thought that Michael McDowell would be a lifer at Front Row. Like there was a part of me that thought that, but I was like, if he sees a move that is potentially an improvement, I absolutely see him making it. I mean, he's close to 40 now, probably late 30s. So, he's always looking for that new opportunity. And I think everybody is. And for Spire, Carson Hocevar was running in the top 10 last week at Kansas at one point before finishing kind of further down. Corey LaJoie's had good runs here and there. Hocevar has outran him a lot this year. Zane definitely has struggled in that 71, and I think that has a lot to do less with the equipment and more with the fact that he is a Cup rookie. I think McDowell saw an opportunity to help a team continue to build, for one, and I think he also saw an opportunity to maybe go chase some more wins. I'm not shocked by this, but the news that it was happening, period, came out of nowhere, that's for sure.
Yeah, I found it really interesting, and now I think it all goes to where's Zane Smith going to go. I mean, it's
True.
Obviously been a very very big struggle for him. Where do you see him going?
I mean, there's been a lot of stuff thrown around. That's for sure. A third Trackhouse car, like they finally bring a third one in. Maybe he replaces Daniel Suarez because somebody made the point earlier. I saw, I think on social media that Suarez did win Atlanta, sure, but he hasn't done a whole lot else outside of that, and which kind of clicked with me. I was like, yeah, he won Atlanta, and then he hasn't really made any headlines whatsoever, good or bad. He's just kind of run in the middle of the field. I could see him maybe going to that 99, but I think Zane needs a little more time. A dude's truck champion for sure. And I believe he ran well in Xfinity when he went with Junior Motorsports 2018, if memory serves, maybe 2019. He ran pretty well there. I think he had a couple top tens, but I think he needs a little more time. I think he needs to have that graduation curve a little bit more to ramp up to Cup rather than throwing him in. And everyone's going to have rookie struggles. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be struggling or I expect him to be winning races, But God, like he needs a little. I think he needs a little bit more time. That's for sure. So maybe he jumps into the Trackhouse Xfinity car if they bring SVG up. Who knows? So I'm excited to see what happens with that because silly season's always one of my favorite times of the year.
Yeah, it's been absolutely crazy, and I don't think it's ever been this wild this early. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. Last but not least, I'm gonna talk about this more in my final thoughts segment, but it was announced via Kelly Crandall, Racer.com, NASCAR Race Hub, the 1-hour daily program that airs on FS1. It's gonna be coming to an end next month. The final show will air on Tuesday, June the 11th. The Fox Sports employees were informed of the show's future on Wednesday. I don't get it, Adam. I don't get why they signed a 7-year deal and they're canceling their daily studio program. Make it make sense for me.
Unfortunately, I cannot because I'm in the exact same boat. That's and personally, and I think for a lot of us, that was something I would come home from college and watch, in the afternoons, evenings, or from back in high school, middle school, whatever. So like I think it has that special spot for a lot of us because the time became almost perfect. Every Tuesday you'd sit down and watch Radioactive and all that stuff, which was awesome. But yeah, from a TV deal standpoint too, I can't make it make sense. I don't know what that decision is. I don't know if it's a viewership thing. I don't know. And I think especially where NASCAR is right now, they need to have that consistent presence throughout the week. And now we don't.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it. And wait till my the final thoughts segment. So let's dive on in to our soundbite of the week.
Well, Tony, what angered you at the end of the race? What did you take issue with?
What the hell do you think I was mad about? Dumb little runs us clear down to the infield. He wants to about everybody else, and he's the one that drives like a little. I'm gonna bust his ass.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
And short track race.
It's time for the Soundbites of the week.
Here with Scott Graves, crew chief for Chris Buescher, runner-up for the day. First off, what did you think about that finish? Did you think you guys had won?
Obviously, we thought we'd won. Timing and scoring had us across the line first, so we thought based on that we had won. And then obviously went back and talked with NASCAR about it, and they've got their photos that they use, a little more precise laser-generated photo that shows the 5 ahead by whatever it was, 0.001 seconds. So it is what it is. Doesn't make it any easier. It's pretty frustrating. So from my point, I didn't think it was a great finish.
Once again, that was crew chief Scott Graves. Our Michael Massey caught up with him at the end. Adam, I don't think he's ever going to be in this position again where you have someone from MRN, the Motor Racing Network, interviewing him that he won the race and then being like, you actually didn't win the race. Sorry. Have you ever seen anything like that? I mean, I thought the race at Atlanta, the finish of that was amazing. Kansas said, hold my beer and then some, because wow.
Yeah. Have you ever? No, I never. Yeah. I know I've never seen them be interviewing someone who they thought won and then it turned out they didn't. I think everyone's still in shock. I don't know if Chris Buescher's gotten over it yet. He seemed to just kind of dumbfounded at what happened when they were interviewing him after they determined that Larson was the winner. I mean, crazy finish. A lot of fun. What did I say on the scoop on Sunday? We're eating good this year in terms of finishes. 2 in Cup, 1 in Xfinity, all 3 1,000ths of a second or less. I've never seen that. I don't think we'll see that again for a while, unless it's I don't know what other than maybe at a super speed, like a yellow line violation or something, and it's something that NASCAR rules after the fact or something. I don't know. That's like the most extreme example where they wouldn't call it initially. Yeah, we're not going to see that again. We're not going to see a lot of things we saw this past weekend again. That's for sure.
I mean, it's absolutely been insane. I've still literally watched it 1,000 times, and every single time I'm like, there's no way. There's no freaking way. It's absolutely incredible to me. But I mean, you heard the dejection and the heartbreak. I feel bad for the guy. But hey, I still think Ford is going to be getting into victory lane sooner rather than later. I mean, I predicted Brad Keselowski to win last weekend. Unfortunately, his teammate was on the almost receiving end of that. But hey, it is what it is.
He went Talladega and he got he got slowed up. He didn't get hooked. He got slowed up there in the tri-oval. So
Yeah.
we're both picking those RFK cars when they're sponsored by Castrol. So maybe Brad pulls it out this weekend. Darlington, he's won there, 2-3 times now? At least
something
once
like that. Yeah. Exactly. So you never know. Adam, let's dive on into the checkered flag and wrap it up, brother.
It's going to be a drag race all the way back to the start-finish line. No caution. They're side by side, right to the line. Big crash. Here they come. Checkered flag.
The checkered flag is out, and it's time for the final thoughts.
Thought segment is in the air. Whatever you want to rant, rave, or anything in between. Mr. Adam Cheek, floor is yours, bro.
That's a great question. Like, I'm pretty positive after last week. Like, I didn't have any issues with the finish. Like, maybe the second door slam was a little much on Larson's part, but I don't really have any issues with it. A finish is a finish, and timing lines are timing lines. Now, if there hadn't been the timing lines, then that start finish line would have been an issue because of the way the paint was. Darlington Throwback Weekend, okay, maybe there's just something. Please stop complaining about Darlington Throwback Weekend. I love it. I think it's great that we get this every year, even if some throwbacks are repeated. Even if I saw somebody tweet earlier about, they thought it had jumped the shark because of some of the throwbacks, which I'm like, we got Kyle Larson's. His is gorgeous. The Terry Labonte car, we finally got it after probably 7 years of people asking for it. Xfinity and trucks, you have the Days of Thunder with Ryan Ellis and Tyler Ankrum. Yeah, both of those have been done before, but it never gets old. I'd like more movie schemes as the guy who writes Real Racing, but outside of that, like, I'm pretty good right now. I like the way the season's going. It's been entertaining. Ford needs to get it together, but other than that, this season's been pretty good. I'm doing good.
It was gonna be positive, Brian, here, but until about an hour ago. But it hurt my heart a little bit to see that NASCAR Race Hub is ending, and it leads me to the point where it's just like, what are you doing, Fox? What are you doing? You signed a 7-year deal at the end of last year to broadcast Cup and truck races, and now you're removing your daily studio show. I mean, people already think you don't care enough, and now you're telling us that you don't need a studio show. I mean, ESPN, they have their NFL shows. Sure, NFL Total Access just went away from the NFL, but I mean, there's been rumors of ESPN trying to get in with the NFL and the NFL Network. That's a story for a different day. The fact of the matter is, though, that Fox Sports, there's a disconnect from the executives that are in cubicles in LA and the guys that are busting their asses, whether at the racetrack, the camera guys, or the production and the studio team in the studios in Charlotte. There's a disconnect there. What's going to happen? I don't know. What are we going to see out of the truck broadcast? I don't know. I think NASCAR on CW for the Xfinity Series is going to be a breath of fresh air, and I think it's going to be amazing. For the NASCAR Cup and Fox, and especially for the Truck Series, it's a very big cause for concern.
I agree with that. Yeah. I want a daily show throughout the week on NASCAR on something. Whether if that happens to be the CW, then so be it. But get us something daily for NASCAR. Keep Radioactive going, if nothing else, because that was the best part of Race Hub. Every single Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, whatever the case may have been.
Mr. Cheek, I'm going to need you to say it louder for the people in the back, my friend, because
no matter what the network.
Amen. Preach it, brother. Preach it. Cheek, it's always a pleasure, buddy. Thank you so much for coming on. What are you going to be cooking up on frontstretch.com? And then plug your socials as well, brother.
Yeah, for sure. So this week for Real Racing, we're doing a rundown of all the movie-inspired throwback schemes that have run at Darlington specifically. We'll talk about a few more. James Davison did a couple Days of Thunder ones years ago. The Superflow is the only Days of Thunder car, the major one, that has not had a throwback at Darlington. Someone needs to do that at some point. And then in the coming weeks, I'm going to do a what I call a living document series, where I'm going to do a history of all the movie paint schemes in NASCAR, and like a 6-part article series. And those will serve as, if someone remembers one that I don't have, which I think I'm at 113 listed or something like that, 113 different movies. So if someone remembers one that I don't have, you comment it or tweet at me at Adam and Cheek. There's my social plug, and tell me what I missed, and I can include it in there, because those are going to serve as a living, evolving document over time. Stock Car Scoop this weekend, obviously. And yeah, I think that's all.
You touched the base for me on everything. I loved it. At Adam and Cheek, at the Bryan Nolen. Coming up next, you got Through the Gears. My man Tino is going to get all of the latest betting odds for you for gearing up for Darlington. And then, like Adam said, Stock Car Scoop every single Sunday night. This time, they're going to be recapping the fantastic racing that we're going to see from the Lady in Black at Darlington on Sunday. For Adam Cheek, I'm Brian Timothy Dale Nolen. Talk to you next week. Recap Darlington.
Hey everyone, Dalton Hopkins here with frontstretch.com. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and check out one of the 2 videos next to me to see more of our racing content.